Now for our first conversation, please welcome to the stage Randall Lane, Chief Content Officer, Forbes, and Kneeland Youngblood, Founding Partner, Chairman, and CEO, Pharos Capital Group.
This is a smart, good-looking group here, and we got a lot of young bloods here, and we thought for the young bloods, we've got Dr. Youngblood to start off. We've got an OG. We thought we have so many amazing names and stars across today, but what better way to start with somebody who, Jabari talked last night about the need to create more black billionaires. And, Dr. Youngblood, in you've got somebody that you're in the process of doing it. Kneeland, thank you, yes. Well, respect here in Atlanta. We like to show respect, but Kneeland, it's a real pleasure to have you. Kneeland came in, just so you know, from Iceland this morning. So that's dedication. We really appreciate it. Thank you. So maybe Kneeland, you could tell us, maybe you could tell the group, I call you, I say Dr. Youngblood because he's a medical doctor, but as Jabari mentioned, and Jabari was being modest, you've got several $1 billion under management as a private equity investor. So maybe give us your background on how, just kind of a quick catch up on how you've had multiple careers, but maybe just give everyone a sense of where you come from, where you are.
Well, first off, it's a pleasure to be here, and thank you all for having me. I grew up, as many of you all did. I was very, very blessed. Had great parents, 4 brothers, 2 sisters, big family. But of course, we were always broke. But my parents gave me the most important thing was love, and the idea that I could do anything. And so, look, I had lots of interesting experiences. 14, got to work in the Texas legislature. 16, was an exchange student to Greece. Believe it or not, even being from a small town in Texas, and that experience really transformed my worldview. My friends were anarchists, communists, left, right, hated the United States, and I thought everybody, loved America. But we come to find out the CIA had overthrown the government of Greece, supposedly. My friends all were protesting against America, but were all trying to get a green card to get to America. And so that gave me insight into the immigrant mentality, and that if you're coming over on boat from Vietnam, potato famine in Ireland, pogroms in Russia, you get to the U.S., things are challenging, tough, but you have a frame of reference to say, yeah, but it could be so much worse. And for many black folks, because of his slavery, we don't have that frame of reference. That motivated me. I came back, finished high school, went to Princeton, studied international systems of healthcare in Sweden and England as part of my undergraduate degree. After that, came back, took over the administration building around the anti-apartheid movement, but post that arrest, went to medical school, and I thought I was going to be a heart surgeon. I know this is a long-winded answer, but I want to make this quick. I thought I was going to be a heart surgeon, and called one of the Princeton alums, said, hey, look, I want to be a heart surgeon like you. He said, look, you can come by and see me anytime, but you should go see my roommate first. I thought that was odd. So I went down to Houston to see his roommate, who was black. And he was the most extraordinary man I'd ever met. He had gone to Howard at 15, transferred to Harvard 1950, finished summa cum laude, turned down a Rhodes Scholarship, went to Harvard Med School, and we roomed with this guy. And I met him. He trained in surgery at Columbia, fellowship in the UK, on the faculty at Harvard, came back to Texas, first director of research at the Texas Heart Institute, doing more heart surgery than any place in the world. I met this guy, and I realized I was not that good. I was like, drop the mic. I can't do, he was a wonderful man. He challenged me in ways that other people had not, because everybody had always patted me on the back. And he was like, no, your game's weak. You gotta raise your game. And so I said, I can't do heart surgery. If I can't be as good, if not better than this man, I need to do something else. So I came back to medical school, wrote a proposal, went to Egypt, apartment on the Nile, pyramids in the background, and then I was there for a few months doing surgery and infectious disease. And I would go out to the Sahara Desert, and I'd say, look, at the end of my life, when I'm dying and taking my last breath, what is it I want to define me? Who is it I want to be? And maybe I can reverse engineer to get to that point. I then trained in surgery in New York, did my residence here at Grady, Emory Hospital, emergency medicine. Came back.
It all comes back to the ATL.
Yeah, it always come back to the ATL. Practiced medicine for 12 years back home in Texas. But again, I wanted to give back. And as a 14-year-old, I recognized that money was the driver of politics, and that's where I could give back. So I organized my friends. We started raising money for candidates. Started with a guy named Bill Bradley, who was running for the Senate of New Jersey. He became senator. Ann Richards, Texas, became governor. Carol Moseley Braun in Illinois. Ron Brown asked me to help a guy named Bill Clinton, raise money for him. And that really exposed me to the world of politics. Bill Bradley said something very simple, very profound. The President of the United States walks in the room, what's your ask? I said, what do you mean? He said, don't get distracted with the lights, cameras, all that. If you're in a room with the President, you're there for a reason. They know what they want out of you. You should know what you want out of them. It's like, oh, wow. Ann Richards calls me, says, hey, look, I want to put you on the board of medical examiners. I said, no, I want to be on the tax policy committee. She said, what are you talking about? I said, yeah, I want to be on the tax policy committee. She said, why? I said, because the tax policy committee is composed of CEOs from around the state of Texas. If it's important enough, it's important enough. If it's important enough for them, it's important enough for me. I want to be in that room. There's no one like me in that room. She said, fine. I get a call from in the emergency department, someone saying, hey, look, this guy wants to talk to you about this tax thing. I said, look, can I help you? You know, I'm really busy here in the ER. I said, look, you don't know me. I'm CEO of a company called Trammell Crow. I live in Dallas. You live in Dallas. I'm on the tax policy committee. The meetings are in Austin. Let's go together. I said, sure. What? American Airlines, Southwest Airlines flight? He's like, I got my own jet. So just come fly with me. I was like, excuse me. Damn. I'm in the wrong business. So I got on the jet and I said, I quit. I'm out. I'm done. I quit medicine. I'm quitting. But, you know, I'm married. I got 6 kids. I got private schools. I couldn't afford to go back, get an MBA, all that, you know. So I said, let me get extra money. I had the governor put me on the board of the pension fund. She thought I was crazy then too, but she realized later I was right. The pension fund exposed me to money. I looked at public equities, fixed income, real estate, private equity, and that's what I decided to do. I said I need great mentors, great team, credibility. Mentorship side, I got some great mentors. And then I said credibility, serving on corporate boards. If I could be on one board, the best board would be an airline because they let you fly for free. I was able to get connected with Americans, free first-class travel anywhere in the world. American flew. Then Starwood Hotels, I needed a place to stay. I was on board there. I was on board of the Gap. I had 6 kids. I was on board of Burger King, food. And then I started the firm, and we've raised a couple $2 billion, and you know we invest in healthcare. We invest in healthcare. Sorry, that was long-winded, but anyway, that's it.
Yeah. Now that's what I call side hustling. That is impressive. You mentioned you mentioned mentors. You have had some amazing ones. Like I believe when you were starting with private equity, you went. You know, if we talk about becoming billionaires, you went to billionaire. Richard Rainwater, I think, was who people probably don't know who he is. He's one of the most important investors. He's passed, but was one of the most important investors in Texas. As I recall, I think he made a lot of his money because he started buying land in a swamp in Florida that eventually became Walt Disney World.
You got it, from 20 million to 12 bill. Well, anyway, I had 3 very important mentors. One, a guy named Richard Rainwater. Look, I started reading about finance, and again, I happened to be at a big event in Dallas, and 1,000 people in there, and I saw this guy, and I was like, oh, wow, that's Richard Rainwater. So I ran up to him and said, Mr. Rainwater, I want to be like you when I grow up. He said, well, come by and see me. So I went by and saw him, and he just kind of opened the world up. And what it did for me...
So you just randomly?
Random, complete random, no connection. You should not let people's status, stature, title stop you from asking for the order. And so that's really, really important. So Richard became a great mentor, great friend, and he gave me confidence because I felt like if this man, who is successful as he is, from 20 million to 12 bill, took the time to meet with me and help me, then he must see something in me that I didn't see in myself. Next was then a guy named David Bonderman, who you wouldn't have necessarily known, but founded a firm called TPG. Yep. David,
another billionaire.
Multi-billionaire.
Multi-billionaire.
Great friend, great mentor. But David said, look, you know what? I'll invest with you. I'll give you some money. I'll give you a few $1 million to get started. It's like, whoa. And then another guy by the name of Mike Milken became a
billionaire.
great mentor, great friend. Mike was like, look, I'm in. And look, you don't know these names, but for instance, Mike Milken's bonus in 1986 was $550 million. 13 people who work for Mike Milken own either an NFL, NBA, or Major League Baseball team.
That's right.
So.
He invented an entire class of investments.
investment, yeah.
So in choosing your mentors, again, maybe for this group, that's great on paper. How do you have the fortitude to go up to a Rainwater, to a Bonderman, to a Milken, and just say, hey?
Yeah, again, look, what can someone say other than no? I mean, they can say yes or no. I mean, they're not going to hit you or you should, there are a couple of things I would say is no price is too high to pay for the privilege of owning yourself. And that's Friedrich Nietzsche. No price is too high for the privilege of owning yourself. So that's one thing. And then another quote that I go by is, he who has found his why in life can tolerate almost any how. And so understanding, finding your purpose, finding your drive, your ambition, you can sustain yourself. There are going to be a lot of no's in life. There continue to be a lot of no's in my life and everyone's life. But you have to be willing to persevere, to adjust, to, no means not yet.
Yep. No means not yet. That is terrific advice. For you've raised hundreds of millions. Even how do you whether or not you're raising money for a fund or for a startup? What's the key to raising money?
I think the key to raising money, a couple things. First off, my parents were instrumental in helping me to understand that what they would say is never let money get in the way of your success. I was like, what do you mean? He said, never let money get in the way of your success. I said, look, we have 7 kids here in this household. We can't really afford for all y'all to go to college, but you know what? You do well in school, we're gonna make it happen. All 7 of my siblings, all of us went to college. Most of us went to grad school. They got it done. And so, look, it's the why, you can tolerate anyhow. That's what I would say. I mean, if you have belief, well, first off, what I would say is make sure that you're the best version of yourself. Make sure that there's integrity in what you do. Make sure that you show up on time, that you do your homework, that you understand what it is you're trying to do and what your vision is for how you can make it better. And that enthusiasm, that passion, I think really is what people are looking for when they're, looking to make some investments. Money is not the problem. Money, believe it or not, money is the easy part. Money is the easy part. It is, what are the most compelling ideas? Who are the people who are driven to make things happen, who understand how to manage folks?
Let's stick with that because, right, you're sitting on a pile of money that you give to entrepreneurs and business leaders, and you talked about the idea, but like you said, there are a lot of great ideas. There's a lot of money out there and there are a lot of great ideas. What is it about the person? If any of these people walk in, and they're pitching you, what are you looking for when you say, I'm looking for the person who can manage, who can take ideas and execute them? What is that spark you're looking for?
What I would say is a couple things. First off, you need to be talking to the right people because different people, what I invest in, I only invest in healthcare. And I invest in, my equity checks. The checks I write are for $50+ million. That's what I do. If you've got a startup, I'm not your guy. It's just not. Well, but there are plenty of other women and men in the venture space who are in that space. And so one of the things we did here actually at Spelman and Morehouse created a Center for Black Entrepreneurship. The Black Economic Alliance, which I'm on the board of, we've raised about $50+ million for that. So there's a course there. For entrepreneurs, you can take it online, et cetera. But then we also raised another 30 so far, but we'll raise another 50 million because of the lack of friends and family within the Black community to be able to be the first risk dollars in. So it's $500,000 check or $100,000 check.
We got about a minute left. The idea again, what I love about everything you're saying is you're showing as much as telling. But I do want to ask for a tell. One piece of advice. We're looking at kind of the macroeconomic trends, and it's not, if you look at black wealth, it should be skyrocketing, but it's not. If you look at medium black wealth, it's not, the tide is not automatically going up. What is it, again, going back to Jabari's mantra that, you're a billion, private equity, like you said, venture seeds the money, then private equity grows it. You're a billionaire maker. If we want more black billionaires out there, what is the one piece of advice you give to this room? Because in this room, I guarantee this, we come back to this event 20 years, there are multiple black billionaires in this room. I don't know who it is. That's why it's important to network, because you know who it is, but they're out there. So talk to there's some future billionaires out there. What is the one piece of advice about how to get there?
The one piece of advice I would say is be the very best at whatever it is you're trying to achieve. Be the very best, whether that's in artificial intelligence, whether that's in quantum computing, whether that's in retail, whatever. That would be one piece of advice. But not only be the best, I think you also have to think bigger, not smaller. You have to surround yourself with the very best and brightest people who can challenge you and who you can challenge as a team. I think that, you have to have integrity. You have to be honest. You have to believe in yourself. And you have to persevere. It's not one answer.
That's right.
And let me clarify. I'm not a billionaire yet. I'm working on it. But, I would also say I've been fortunate that I have 6 extraordinary children. I've been married to a black woman for almost 40 years who I met here in Atlanta. I got married here in Atlanta. And, in the midst of your careers in life, prioritize the things that are important. Money is important, but it's just a tool. It's just a tool. The thing that I'm most proud of are my kids, my wife, my family. Those are the things that, for my legacy, are really what it's all about. And continue to try to make my parents proud, who've passed many, many years ago. So,
money's a tool. It's also just a reflection. If you're great at what you do, the money will follow. I think you've been a great, in many careers, you've been a great example of that. Kneeland, thank you very much for kicking off this day with very inspirational work. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Amen. Peace.